This is a Reign of Books book talk. This is the reader's entry into great narratives where the written page reigns supreme all the time, always. Reign of Books. We are covering Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time, Book 2, The Great Hunt. And Josh, to get us started in this, Rand is the Dragon Reborn. Into story.
Oh, dude, you should have mentioned this as a spoiler cast. Is this a spoiler cast? Uh-oh. Wait a minute. That's the whole premise of the story, so we're safe. Never mind. But this is a spoiler cast, and Rand is the Dragon Reborn. Does that have any significance in your everyday life? Well, if you lived in this world, yes, because he's kind of like the Messiah. I mean, come on. Dragon Reborn with a name like that. You're a cool dude.
You better be cool.
So Rand al'Thor, the second part of Robert Jordan's epic 14-book series that he completed, I think, the first 9 or 10. We need to get that straight. Brandon Sanderson, finished up the series after Robert Jordan's death. So it's completed after 23 years. Am I doing my math right? 90 to 2013.
I don't know. I quit keeping up with it. But you know what I did keep up with, Josh? I kept up with the fact that this book picked up immediately where the Eye of the World left off.
Good thing. Why is that a good thing, you ask? Good question.
Because we're back in Shinar, and the Amberlin seat showed up, and now Rand is going to run away from her, and then she's going to take all the girls, and they're going to go giggle about boys in the White Tower while they learn Harry Potter stuff.
Oh man, you either made some fans or you kind of turned a lot of potential fans
Oh, listen
off.
to the full review. We love the book.
So, what is this book all about? The Dragon Reborn. Long story short, there's good versus dark. Dragon Reborn is, in this different ages. The dragon is the savior, defeats evil. But what's about to happen? The big last battle, which is going to change all that. So even with all these reoccurring ages, good beats evil. Supposedly, there's going to be one last battle to where it ends, and the Dark Lord, Baal Almazan, has a plot to actually see to it that he wins and that the world is reshaped into darkness, and basically evil wins. So it's really high stakes.
Break the Wheel of Time, and it feels like the last battle's about to come by the time we get to the end of the third book. So I'm wondering what's going to happen after the last battle.
Yeah, you're right. We discussed that. So it's like, whoa, the Great Hunt is alluding to the Horn of Valir, ancient relic in this world where the heroes can blow the horn, and the heroes of legend from all these different eras come back, and they're the ghosts that will fight, and they're unstoppable. But evil people can blow the horn, good people can blow the horn, so you better find the horn if you want to win.
But Josh, they have the horn. They found the horn at the end of the first book. What could have happened in this story to make them go on a great hunt again?
Well, only the most impenetrable fortress in this world is penetrated by the Trollocs, these ugly monsters with their fades, which are eyeless, scary shadow dudes. And the horn is stolen at the very beginning, so you're like, yay! The stakes are still high up there, because otherwise I wouldn't know where the story's going.
And now Thane is like a new Dreadlord in his own way.
Yeah, there are a bunch of losers in the story who worship the Dark One. They're dark friends, and Thane is the most notorious one of all, who is like a bloodhound that tracks down Rand and his friends. But on a serious note, Rand, he doesn't want to be the Dragon Reborn, because in the prophecy, even though he's the savior of humankind, he breaks the world or destroys it, causes the apocalypse in the act of saving the world. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. You'll get the apocalypse, but at least humans will survive it, versus the evil winning and everybody dying. So it's he doesn't want to be the Dragon Reborn. So there's some real good conflict, personal conflict, about him keeping the secret of his power. It's called the One Power. What are the two sides? Saidin is the male side. That's
Saidin and Saidar.
And so Saidin, he can control it, but it usually makes any men who can control it go mad, because part of the prophecy is it was tainted. The Dark One actually corrupted the dark power, and it's never been fixed. So there's that little catch-22. That bad dude really does he's one step ahead of us. But Saidar is controlled by the women, and they are a powerful, interesting brood that is fully realized in Part 2. Part 1 of the Wheel of Time, the Eye of the World, we saw one Aes Sedai witch who controls You know, these they control the woman side of the one power, Sadine or Sidar. So I love the fact that a lot were introduced here. So again, as in the last one, the whole ensemble cast gets split up. You have all these Aes Sedai witches. One goes with Rand, and so he goes on the adventure to get back the Great Horn. And then the women do go. Some of the women that are trained to be Aes Sedai witches, I call them, go to the White Tower. And I just loved how they're always concerned about each other, but they're also growing up and coming into their own. And some cool parts played out there. What do you think?
I've got three things that I took away from, well, most of this book. One is that Rand keeps being called Luz Theron Telamon the whole time by the Dark One, so you kind of get the idea that he is reincarnated. Like the dragon just keeps coming back in different characters, but it's really the same soul inside, perhaps, is a way to say it.
Yeah.
The second thing is that throughout this book, being visited by dreadlords, being visited by Aes Sedai, being just around his friends, you see Rand slowly being massaged into becoming a leader. And Robert Jordan does a very good job and makes it a natural process for Rand as he has to step up in little ways here and there until you get to the end of this book and you see him stepping up in big ways. And it was done very well. It was believable. And I liked watching Robert Jordan's take on leadership and how like the leader, a real leader, is developed. And then the last thing I want to talk about is that he continues with his great line of strong female characters. We mentioned this in the last book, The Eye of the World, but Robert Jordan has truly developed some females that have real purpose other than they can also do what the boys can do. They have their own type of power. They have their own way they have to learn it. They're just as powerful. They're just as important when it comes to politics, when it comes to fighting the Dark One, and all of those things. So he achieves something as far as equality in characters, and I think it's worth mentioning every time we read his books.
Wasn't there a third thing?
That was it. I said three things. You jerk.
Just kidding. Just kidding, really. I was so caught up in, like you said, those themes of powerful women. That was very, very prevalent in this story. I love how the Great Hunt took Rand through these different places in this world, and he slowly had to reconcile how he's the only one who can get them out of this pseudo-mystical kind of dimension that they get trapped in. He's the only one who can stop these creatures. He's the only one who can manipulate these political, enemies in this one city. And he's the only one who can fight the Trollocs. They actually do get the horn back. And Lan, who's the guardian for our most famous Aes Sedai witch, Moraine, Lan taught Rand these sword moves, and so I love how he can actually channel the one power, and he's trying to figure out, hey, is this me channeling the power, or me actually using my sword moves, or am I channeling the power? He's trying to rely on his own skill and kind of not be tempted by this ultimate power. So it's a really good mechanism to talk about temptation and how he actually decides his own fate. But the point was he fights Trollocs, and he's really good with all his sword moves. And I love in this story how everything's established. They're expanding on the established journey, trying to sit here and figure out this kid's development. The Horn of Valir needs to be found, and they need to save it for the last battle. But also, he takes a huge twist. When the women in his group go to train as Aes Sedai witches, they are tricked into saying that Rand is in trouble, and this one bad Aes Sedai, there's this sect, the Black Aja, the Black Aes Sedai. Remember, there's a bunch of dark friends out there, and I love how there's the Aes Sedai who are supposed to be good. There's an evil sect who worship the Dark Ones. A huge twist, but that's not the biggest twist. It's when she tricks them into going to this ocean city that's being raided by this ancient army. So ancient army come back to life. You're like, whoa, there's this powerful force that no one with all these power struggles accounted for. They're introduced, and the twist is that they actually use the all-powerful Aes Sedai as slaves. They have collared them with leashes. They're like dogs. And they use these chained Aes Sedai to wield the one power and to wreak havoc on their enemies. So it's like, holy cow, how do you deal with that? So I love that twist and that expansion of this world.
I'm sorry, Josh, what was your third thing? But read the book because you get all the background. You get all the background on all of this stuff. So we've kind of rushed through it trying to give you some of the highlights and what we thought was important, but the background it's all there. It's fully explained. You have a good feeling for what's going on in this great world that Robert Jordan created.
You did, but you brought up the fact that he developed. Rand goes through this progression. It's not just a 14-book series that some people say it's middling or it plods along in the middle. It slows down, it gets bogged down. But this book, I guess the climax is the fact that he does fight the Dark One. He has to quit hiding because the climatic battle is in the sky. Spoiler, he fights Baal Mazan again, and it's in the sky for the whole world to see. And he basically sacrifices himself. The whole time it's alluded to the fact that he's going to have to expose himself and basically to make a deadly strike with his sword. He's going to have to expose his defenses, and the Baal Mazan actually stabs him, impales him, and then he strikes down Baal Mazan. So it's this epic battle. Not as epic as I want it to be as far as description, but he's still a growing. It's realistic because the kid doesn't have all these powers that this ancient evil has. He's growing into his powers. So he grew into it. And I love that finale because everyone in the sky knows they saw it. The legend is spreading. So I think we're going to see a turn. It's a new turn in him having to embrace these powers.
That's right. And Rand defeats Baal Zaman. Because I'm wondering if at the end of each book there's going to be some epic battle with the Dark One every time. So, second book in a row where there has been that. So I'm curious to see if that continues, because if it does, I'm going to be laughing at the end of each show. You're talking, but we can't hear you because your microphone's cut off.
I knew that. I was testing. But that's it. So I give this book, I'm going to have to give it, I didn't go into the cons of the book, but I have to give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. Don't hate me. What about you, John?
I give it a solid 4. I think Robert Jordan's done a great thing here.
Okay. Okay, fine. 3.5 and 4. So go read the book. Thanks for joining us on this book talk for The Great Hunt, book 2 of the Wheel of Time series. And join us next time. We're going to slowly make our way through this 14-book series over the next 20 years. Just kidding. We'll do it sooner than that. We'll catch you next time on The Rain of Books. John, great talking points, my friend. Catch you soon.
Blade Master.